Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're doing something a little different, peeling back that sunny, beach-filled image of Florida. We're going to explore its thrilling and, often chilling hidden side. Most people think theme parks, pristine shores, But the Sunshine State actually harbors this really rich and spooky history, perfect for thrill seekers or just anyone who enjoys understanding the mysterious. So, our mission for this deep dive. We've got a stack of sources on Florida's most haunted places. We're going to pull out the most fascinating bits of knowledge, uncover some surprising facts, and help you understand the legends behind all the eerie stuff reported across the state. Get ready to feel maybe a little bit spooked, but definitely a lot more well-informed.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here, and what we'll dig into today, is how these stories, they weave together so deeply with Florida's incredibly diverse history. I mean, we're talking everything from ancient indigenous lands, Civil War forts, those lavish Jazz-age hotels, even modern interstate highways. So as we go, we'll connect these dots, reveal not just what is haunted, but maybe why these specific places seem to hold such a powerful grip on our imagination. How tragic events turn into these enduring legends.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Some of Florida's most iconic haunted spots. And where better to start than St. Augustine, oldest city in the U.S. It's a place practically brimming with history and, well, apparently more than a few lingering spirits.
Oh, indeed. One of its most legendary haunted sites is the St. Augustine Lighthouse. Built in 1874, it's 165 feet tall, 219 spiral steps to the top. But the hauntings here, they actually started before the lighthouse was even finished. There's this tragic story from 1873. Two young girls, Mary and Eliza Pitty, daughters of a lighthouse worker. They drowned while playing on a construction cart that, it rolled into the bay. And to this day, visitors, staff, they report hearing children's laughter, footsteps. Some even say they've seen apparitions, like a girl in Victorian clothes.
Oh, that's just heartbreaking, imagining those little girls still playing there. But I understand the Pitty sisters aren't the only spirits making an appearance, right? It seems like lighthouses, with their isolation and that history of watching, they often attract a whole host of spectral residents.
You're absolutely right. Beyond the Pitty sisters, mysterious voices have been heard. And there's this distinct smell of cigar smoke, often reported. People think it's a former keeper, Peter Rasmussen, shadowy figure seen at the top. And then there's the persistent man in blue.
Man in blue?
Yeah. Believed to be Joseph Andreu, another former keeper. He fell to his death while painting the tower. Some sources even mention a Dr. Alan Ballard, who supposedly vowed never to leave after the government forced the sale of his original lighthouse property. He's apparently seen wandering the base. What's fascinating about these lighthouse hauntings is how they often seem to mix residual energy, from past tragedies, with more interactive, sort of intelligent presences, almost like the intense history creates this powerful, lasting imprint, and that attracts other energies.
From the historic heights of a lighthouse, let's swing over to the opulent, yet kind of tragic, Biltmore Hotel in Coral Gables. This isn't just any hotel. It's like a living piece of a bygone era. Opened its doors in 1926, huge luxury hotel, jazz-age hotspot. But its history is so varied. It was a military hospital during World War II.
Right.
Then a VA hospital, even part of the University of Miami Medical School, before it finally reopened as a luxury hotel again in 1987. That must add so many layers to its haunted reputation, yeah.
It absolutely does. It's a classic example, really. Places with intense human drama. Lavish parties 1 minute, wartime trauma, violent death the next. They can become like energetic sponges. They just reflect back the emotions and events they've witnessed. The Biltmore hosted famous guests like FDR, even Al Capone. And interestingly, Johnny Tarzan Weissmuller, he worked there as a swim instructor before he got famous.
No kidding, wow.
But yeah, for all that glamour, the hotel holds a really prominent dark ghost story. It's about a gangster, Thomas Fatty Walsh, murdered on the 13th floor in 1929, apparently over a gambling dispute.
And the reports from guests today are, they're really unsettling. We're talking lights switching on and off by themselves, elevators just going to random floors, inexplicable sounds, even cryptic messages supposedly scrawled on mirrors, and people seeing apparitions of men in military uniforms. That really highlights those historical imprints, especially from its time as a hospital.
Absolutely. And speaking of powerful sort of personal imprints, our next story shifts from a grand hotel to something way more intimate and, frankly, unsettling. Robert the Haunted Doll in Key West.
Oh, Robert the Doll. I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's pretty famous. Robert is this unusual handmade-looking doll, about 40 inches tall, made by the Seife Company in Germany, actually, around the turn of the century. He was given to this eccentric Key West artist, Robert Eugene Otto. They called him Gene. Story goes, a Bahamian servant girl gave it to him. And Jean, as a kid, famously blamed the doll for everything. You know, something breaks. Robert did it. Classic kid move, but with a doll.
Wow. Yeah, a doll blamed for childhood mischief.
Wow.
I can just picture a kid saying that. It's such a classic scapegoat.
Yeah.
But yeah, with a doll, it takes on a whole new creepy level. So what's Robert up to now? Still causing trouble.
Well, today, Robert the doll is in a glass case at the Fort East Martello Museum. And visitors still report seeing him move, like change facial expressions. Some even claim to hear giggling noises.
Giggling. Okay, that's unnerving.
Right. And what's really fascinating here is the specific legend around him. It says, if you don't ask Robert's permission before taking his photo, you'll get bad luck. The museum actually receives letters of apology sent to the doll from people who think they had bad luck after disrespecting him.
Get out. People write apology letters to the doll.
Yeah. It really makes you think about the power of belief, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That people would do that. It says a lot about the psychological impact these legends can have. And Jean's old house, now a B&B called the Artist House, that's also supposed to be haunted. Especially the turret room where he and Robert apparently spent a lot of time.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. We're moving from these grand buildings to some truly unsettling outdoor locations. These aren't your typical haunted houses at all.
No, definitely not. We start with a very macabre spot. The Devil's Tree in Oak Hammock Park, Port St. Lucie. It's this large, kind of mysterious oak tree down a dirt nature trail. And it holds this really chilling history. It was the site of gruesome murders back in the early 1970s. A man named Gerald Schaefer allegedly tortured, raped, and hanged 2 teenage hitchhikers there. He buried their bodies, decapitated, in a shallow grave nearby. It's just a place where you can almost feel the trauma lingering.
Truly horrific. Just awful. And I've heard the legends around this tree go way beyond just the murders themselves. There's something about people trying to cut it down and failing. It makes you wonder if places with such extreme violence carry some kind of actual physical or maybe energetic imprint.
Well, they certainly say so. The chilling legend continues with reports of failed attempts to cut the tree down. Chainsaws supposedly stop working. Handsaw teeth just fall out when they touch the bark. Visitors have also claimed to see figures in dark, hooded capes near the tree at night, performing what they think are satanic rituals.
Seriously.
Ugh.
Hooded figures.
Yeah. And there's even a story about a local priest in the early 90s who supposedly tried an exorcism, only for his cross to be knocked over by some unseen force. And a final warning, people say taking a piece of bark from the tree leads to fatal accidents for whoever does it. Whether that's literal or symbolic, it's clear the tree has this powerful, dark reputation.
Okay, shifting gears to something more modern, but just as unsettling, the I-4 dead zone between Orlando and Daytona. This isn't some old, forgotten place. It's a busy interstate highway, yet it's steeped in this grim legend.
Mm-hmm.
The story goes that this, quarter-mile stretch of I-4, especially where it crosses the St. Johns River into Sanford, it was built directly over unmarked graves of 4 German immigrants who died of yellow fever way back in 1886.
And the local priest had died before giving them last rites, apparently, so they were just buried without ceremony. And that lack of a proper burial, according to the legend, is key. Drivers report a really high number of accidents in this specific area. Some estimates are wild, like between 1,000 and 1,700 accidents since it was built in 1963. And beyond the crashes, there are reports of cell service just dropping out completely. Radios playing static, or worse, eerily picking up disembodied voices asking things like who's there or why.
Okay, that's truly wild. An interstate where your phone dies and your radio starts talking to you. And what makes this even weirder is the whole hurricane thing. Apparently, Hurricane Donna in 1960 and Hurricane Charlie in 2004 both bizarrely changed course and went directly over this cursed construction site right when they were dumping fill dirt to build up the highway. Is that just an incredible coincidence? Or, do you think there's something to the idea of a cursed site actually influencing weather?
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Do these places truly carry a curse, or is it more the power of human belief, maybe the sheer weight of tragic history that makes us attribute misfortune to some unseen force? It's this compelling mix of folklore and psychology, really. And speaking of places where dark legends seem to just form, let's look at the Devil School in Jacksonville.
The Devil School. That sounds ominous.
Yeah. Originally, it opened in 1918 as Riverside Grammar School, public school number 4. Later, it was Annie Little Elementary, but it closed down in 1960 and was just left to decay. And since then, these outrageous urban legends have sprung up around it. I mean, really dark stuff. Tales of a crazed janitor burning students alive in the boiler room.
Oh my God.
Or even a cannibalistic school principal, just completely over-the-top horror stories. It's been defaced by graffiti. People say it was used for satanic rituals. Now it's fenced off with keep-out signs, but you can still see it from Chelsea Street. The sheer darkness of these stories, it often reflects this deep-seated human need, maybe, to explain the unexplained, or to give a voice to historical abandonment. It's almost like the abandonment itself creates a vacuum, and the human imagination fills that void with the most unsettling things it can conjure.
That's a really fascinating point, how our minds create these narratives, especially around abandoned places. All right, let's explore just a few more unique Florida haunts. The stories here are as varied as the landscapes themselves. These really highlight the diverse tapestry of Florida's hidden, spooky histories.
Absolutely. Take Bellamy Bridge, near Mariana. It's famously known as Florida's most haunted bridge. Built in 1914, this steel frame bridge is actually the oldest of its kind in Florida, but its central legend revolves around Elizabeth Jane Bellamy. The story goes, she died near the bridge back in the 1830s. Accounts differ. Maybe her dress caught fire on her wedding day, or maybe she died of illness. Either way, her spirit is supposedly seen searching for her husband, Dr. Samuel Bellamy, who tragically later committed suicide himself. It's just heartbreaking.
Wow, yeah. And the emotional weight of that story seems to have, attracted other spirits, too. I've read about other sightings there, like a decapitated wagon driver.
Yeah.
And even a murdered moonshiner.
Exactly.
It seems like places where so much sorrow and violence have happened just become imprinted with these energies.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Natural settings or old infrastructure like bridges, they often seem to accumulate different kinds of energy or attract different legends compared to buildings. They're places of passage, right? Often connected to isolation or tragic accidents. Bellamy Bridge really embodies this. It's become this kind of nexus for various tragic local histories.
And for a truly unique case, how about Ashley's Restaurant in Rockledge, sometimes called Florida's most haunted restaurant on the Space Coast? This Tudor-style place opened in 1934. Looks like a cozy spot for a meal, right? But its haunting is tied to this really chilling local murder from 1935. Ethel Allen, a 19-year-old tavern regular. She was found brutally murdered, mutilated, and burned on the nearby Indian River shore. It's just horrific.
And since then, a whole range of ghostly stuff has been reported there. Objects moving on their own, lights flickering, glasses and dishes just mysteriously breaking, burglar alarms triggering for no reason. Diners have even felt like they were shoved by someone unseen, heard whispering voices after closing time. And the really chilling part, seeing an appearance of a woman in 1930s clothing, presumably Ethel, maybe glaring from the restroom mirror, or even just seeing ghostly legs in a bathroom stall.
Okay, ghostly legs in a stall. That's specific and terrifying.
Right. It's a classic example of how one singular traumatic event can just deeply imprint on a location, creating this wide range of disturbances. So if you're ever in Rockledge, maybe order something non-breakable.
Good advice. And, if we connect this to the bigger picture, you really see how these places often become these repositories of collective memory and the strong emotional imprints left by human drama. The Cuban Club in Tampa's Ybor City is a perfect example. It's even been listed among Travel Channel's top 10 most haunted places.
That's right.
Built in 1917, it was this important social club for Cuban immigrants. Now, a hotspot for paranormal activity.
And what's particularly interesting about the Cuban Club is just the variety of spirits people claim haunt its historic halls. There's supposedly an actor who committed suicide on stage, a theater board member murdered during an argument, an elegant lady in a misty dress, and even a young boy seen playing ball on the theater steps.
Wow, quite a crowd.
Yeah. These diverse accounts really underscore how human experiences, both grand and tragic, performance and conflict, can leave this indelible mark. It's almost like the building accumulates layers of history, and each layer leaves its own unique, energetic signature.
And to wrap up this segment, let's turn to the fascinating witch's grave in Tallahassee's Old City Cemetery. This is the final resting place of Elizabeth Bessie Budd Graham, lived 1866 to 1889. Locals affectionately call her the White Witch. She died mysteriously, pretty young, just 23.
And what makes her grave so unique, so eerie, is her gravestone. It's elaborate, but it notably faces west, unlike all the other markers in the cemetery, which face east.
Oh, interesting. Why west?
Nobody knows for sure. It adds to the mystery. And it features this haunting excerpt from Edgar Allan Poe's poem, Lenore. It's not necessarily a place known for like active poltergeists or apparitions in the traditional sense, but it really shows how certain figures or unusual burials become these focal points for local folklore. They just draw in the curious.
Indeed. This mysterious site apparently draws goth rockers, clairvoyants, and the curious alike, especially being so close to Florida State University's sorority row, oddly enough. It's a place that really invites contemplation on life, death, lingering mysteries, even if the haunting is maybe more the realm of collective imagination and storytelling. So what does all of this mean for you listening? From these tragic historical events to really strange, unexplained phenomena, Florida certainly offers a deep dive into the world of the supernatural. It kind of proves it's not just a land of sunshine, but also one of shadows and lingering spirits, each with a story to tell.
Yeah, we've seen how these locations, whether it's a lighthouse, a luxury hotel, an abandoned school, or even just a quiet cemetery, they serve as these powerful reminders of human stories. Stories sometimes unfinished, sometimes deeply tragic, that just continue to resonate through time. It encourages, I think, critical thinking about how we interpret the unexplained, and how historical events, human emotions, can really shape the very atmosphere of a place.
So what stands out to you from today's deep dive? Whether you're a total skeptic or a firm believer, the legends and the histories of these places undeniably add this unique and chilling dimension to the Sunshine State.
And here's maybe a final provocative thought for you to consider. If these stories aren't purely supernatural, then what deep human need do they fulfill? What need allows us to explore the boundaries of our understanding this way, and maybe confront the unknown aspects of our collective past?
Thank you for joining us on this fascinating deep dive into Florida's most haunted places. We hope you feel a little more well-informed and maybe just a little bit spooked.